Right, believe it or not, we've been in this shed for 2 years now, and that is 2 summers of work inside of a tin oven. So today, what we're doing is we're gonna insulate the shed. Now, trust me when I say it gets really, really hot in here. It's actually to the point where I don't even wanna come outside to film a video because it just gets absolutely ridiculous. I've been going in with headaches and all sorts of stuff that's not really good for your health. So as you can see, up on the roof, we have no insulation whatsoever, and this thing just radiates heat straight on me. I do have a ceiling fan, but it literally just pushes hot air, does absolutely nothing. If anything, makes it worse. Now this is the stuff that we're gonna be putting up there. It is an aluminium foil-backed fiberglass insulation from Bradford. You can see it's not very thick at all, so it is actually gonna sandwich up quite nicely onto the roof, but unfortunately, we do need to take the roof off. Now, I'm not much of a roofer. I actually get a little bit scared working at height. My walls are 3 meters tall, so I'm gonna be 3 meters up in the air, which doesn't sound fun, but we do need to unscrew all the roof sheets, which shouldn't be too hard. Then we need to lay the insulation across the top of the ridge cap there, and then screw the roof sheet back over. Ideally, the effect we wanna have is to come down and up and down and up and down and up, and we've gotta leave a bit of an air pocket in up on the roof there. That seems to help with a lot of the radiant heat. Now that's only the first step, because the second step is to cement sheet and insulate all of the walls, and then the third step is we are putting a 7 kilowatt aircon up on the wall over there so we can dial in the temperature. This is quite an expensive process, but I am doing it on the cheap. I bought all this secondhand off Facebook. I've bought the aircon secondhand off Facebook as well, and also got all the cement sheeting at half price also off Facebook. When we're finished, I'll go through a bit of a cost breakdown and let you guys know what it's cost me to do this. Now I'm just waiting on my brother Harry to come around and give me a hand, because I am not getting on the roof and lifting these sheets by myself. So we've got to wait on him. We'll get up there, start unscrewing the roof, and start laying this insulation down.
Proudly supported by Superior Engineering, Diesel Conversions Australia, and in part by...
Right, let's go have a look at what we're doing. What do you reckon, Harry?
Yeah, mate.
Should be all right, eh?
That wind is going to wreck us.
Yeah, it's definitely windy today. So I think what we'll do is we'll start from the front of the shed, work our way back. We need to take 2 sheets off and slide them, but it is really windy. Going to really try and not lift the sheets up, because then we're probably going to blow off with the sheet. So basically, you've got to unscrew all the screws, pull 2 sheets back. We might even put a screw in it just to hold the sheet on the roof. And then we're gonna lay the insulation over the top and hopefully screw the sheets back on. It's a good view from up here. Right, the plan keeps changing, but we're gonna just make a start. We're gonna have to start taking out all of the roof screws. I feel a bit wobbly up here, eh? Harry actually cleans roofs, so it's pretty normal to him to be on a roof. We're gonna start from the far end just because of the way the roof sheets overlap. But we'll just have to start whipping some screws out. Hopefully we don't fall. I mean, you can't fall this way, Harry, because the roof's there. You can only fall one way. But yeah, let's just make a start and see how far we can get. Ready for my first day of roofing. And I'm a little bit nervous to get up there, actually. I'm not that great on a roof, but you know, I've got my roofing hat on, got me specs, GoPro just in case, Crocs. How do Crocs go on roofs?
Yeah, really good actually. People use them all the time. Yeah.
Oh, sick. We've got my lockers engaged. So, let's go.
Right, so we're starting by unscrewing the roof sheets. Now there's little rubbers underneath these screws, so we're just making sure that all the rubbers stay with the screws. You probably should replace them if you go into this much effort. I haven't bothered because I'm really trying to stick to a budget, but once the sheets are out the way, we could then slide the insulation under. We were battling the wind a little bit. I suggest if you are doing this at home to try and find a day that's not windy, it would be a lot easier. But once the insulation is rolled over, we just lay the sheets on top. That holds it down, and then we can re-screw the sheet back over the top of it.
Right, quick update. We've got this whole side of the roof done. We actually had to completely re-screw this side of the roof because as we were kind of working it, it was sort of leaning off to one side, so it wasn't really even. We had to pull it all back up, re-screw it all down, but now it's nice and square. We're just going to check this other side for square, screw it all down. See, I've trimmed my edge right up until there, but we've still got heaps of overhang. Been a pretty mammoth job actually doing this, but hopefully it'll be worth it. You can see underneath is looking pretty good, and when you walk in there it's nice and cool, but today's a pretty cool day anyway. So all we got left is to re-screw the other side,
trim off the excess, put the ridge cap back on, put the fascias back on, and we'll be golden. I've got the electricity turned off because we are screwing through the roof and there's some power cables coming through, so it's a little bit hard to see. All of it is put up. Like I said, we've just got this one side left to screw off and we'll be good to go. It's nice and cool in here too, which is awesome. Definitely doesn't look the best, kind of like spaceship-esque, but you know, function over form today, guys. Just sick of roasting in here. So I'm gonna jump back up on the roof, keep screwing this off. So I'll see you guys in a sec.
Oh man, it is the next morning. I am sore. I don't know how you guys do it, you roofers out there. It took us the whole day, but we are done with the roof. The only thing I really need to do is just tape these edges. There is a special tape. I actually just went to Bunnings and bought it. It is right here. It's like a aluminium foil tape that will actually seal these joints up. But as you can see, it is all up on the roof. It feels a heck of a lot cooler in here, so I'm pretty stoked about that. The insulation is everywhere up on the roof and nice and sandwiched between the sheets. Now, what you want to aim for is to have a little bit of droop between the rafters so that there is an air gap between the tin roof and the insulation itself. That just really helps with the cooling, but so far, this is feeling really good. It is 10:30 in here at the moment. It's meant to be quite hot today and it doesn't feel anywhere close to how it's been feeling the past couple of weeks. I'll kind of suss it out throughout the day today and see how the temperatures feel, but so far, so good. Now, I've still got a lot of work to do. This is gonna take ages, but we are actually sheeting all the walls with insulation and then we're using fiber cement sheeting. We're doing Easy Lap from James Hardy on the back and just fiber cement sheeting blue board on the walls here. And we're gonna put insulation behind them. I am left with a little bit of this insulation and I can go and get more off Facebook for $80 a bag. So I think I'm gonna actually stick to this stuff here because it is quite nice to work with. What we can do is put the aluminium up against a tin, and that way if we get any condensation coming back through the wall, because we're going to have the aircon up there, so it's going to be really cool in here, really hot outside, there might be a little bit of moisture come between this wall and the sheet. And if you just have fiberglass or like earth wool or something, it can get quite moldy and it can go gross after a while and start to smell. So that's what I'm thinking. Not only can I get that stuff for cheap, but it has that aluminium back on it, so if it does sweat, it's actually just going to run down the wall. There is a few bits that I've got to patch that kind of got ripped up there because it was really windy, as you guys probably seen. It was quite hard to control it. There's also some light coming through up in those corners there, so we need to seal all that up, and that's what we're going to do today. Now obviously I have to get all the toolboxes, all the benches out of the way so we can put the sheets up on the wall and put the insulation in and whatnot. So I'm going to get all that done today. I'm going to try and seal up all of the cracks throughout the roof, and I want to seal all the cracks on the ground as well, because in between there is like a little gap there that spiders and rats and stuff could potentially crawl up and lay a nest in the insulation because they just love laying in fiberglass, and I don't know why. But yeah, that was definitely a mission, but so far, well worth it. So basically what we're gonna do today is seal everything up and get the shed ready to lay the sheets on. Also, I should probably quickly say that I'm definitely not a shed builder, nor have I ever insulated a shed. It's my first time. I'm just doing what the cheapest option for me is at the moment. So if you're doing this at home, definitely check into what you need and the stuff that you should be doing. Don't take any advice off me because 60% of the time, I have no idea what I'm doing. God, I've got some stuff to sort out. There was crap everywhere, tucked away in little corners that I didn't even know about. But when we go to put it all back together, I'll be reorganizing everything. But geez, I got my work cut out for me. Anyway, it's all for a good cause. So we are just about ready to sheet. I've vacuumed out all the nooks and crannies, and I've also put some silicone in where the part of the tin is kind of raised up so no spiders or rats can get up in that hole. So she's all nice and clean, siliconed off and ready for the sheets themselves. Now, we've only got 2 windows to cut around. I did have that window blocked off. What I think I'm gonna do is just heavily tint these and possibly put up some like foam over the top of them just to help with insulation, because I do not use these windows at all. And you can clear as day tell that I've never used spray foam before. I've made an absolute mess. I did try to just start trimming it, but it's still tacky underneath the hard shell. So what I'll do is wait for that to fully cure, then I'll go through and saw all that off. Right, I'm back and it's the next weekend. I'm a little bit sick, so sorry for the croaky voice, but we are going to continue on with this insulation. Now, I've come up with what I think is a pretty good plan on how to move forward with these walls. You can see I've got some insulation hanging on the wall there, and the reason that this is going to work really well is because it's got the foil back. It's the same stuff that we used on the roof, but if I face the foil up against a tin, it's leaving an air gap, and it's also a bit of a moisture barrier because this wall is going to be hot, and when we have the aircon in here, it's going to be cold, so there's the potential that condensation might build up on the tin. If you have the fiberglass up against a tin, it actually can grow mold and rot and really start to cause a lot of drama. So I think that is a really good plan of how to combat two birds with one stone. Rather than taking all the wall sheets off like we did to the roof, wrapping the whole building in plastic and then putting some insulation in, I think this is actually going to work really well. And like I said at the start of this video, I can get this stuff super cheap. So it's kind of like 3 birds with 1 stone, I guess. So my internal cladding sheet will then screw straight over the top of that. It'll really compress that, and like I said, it'll leave a nice air gap at the back, so it should work really well. I only put these 2 up just to see if it would work and how it would look, and all I've done is just taped along the top just to hold them up, and then obviously once the sheet gets screwed on, that's going to permanently hold those in place. There is still some stuff I need to take off. I need to take these lights down. I do need to start thinking about like all the screws maybe up the top as well, so we can get everything ready to start laying all this insulation down, and then we can think about getting the sheets on. Now these are the sheets that I've bought here. We have 5 James Hardie Easy Lap cladding. I'm actually going to leave them raw because I really like that color. And then we've just got some blue board cement sheeting. This is typically stuff that you'd put on the outside of a house and then maybe render over the top, but it's going to be perfectly fine for what we're using it for. One of the main reasons I've gone cement sheeting for the internal cladding is because of fires. Now, when you've got all your battery gear charging in the shed, there is a high risk of fires. I do tend to turn my battery chargers off when I'm not in the shed, but I do forget sometimes as well. If you were to line your shed in plyboard's obviously timber goes up in smoke pretty quickly. So I'm trying to think of everything that I can to keep the fire risk low in this shed. I'm gonna make a start so that we can get this thing sheeted today. Right, as you can see behind me, I've finished the first wall. Now I wanna show you guys how I'm doing it just in case you are following at home. Start by unrolling this as much as I possibly can. And I kind of grab it here. I am normally wearing a mask too, but you won't be able to hear me if I wear my mask. So then you kind of just grab the insulation and fold it back off this top foil part here. I'm just using this foil insulation tape from Bunnings, and it seems to be pretty good tape. So then just stick it half on, and then jump on the step ladder and then just stick it up there like that. I'll just do a few more. You go ahead and tuck the part that has the tab on it in behind on that corner. Now I went inside and stole this bread knife off the missus to cut the insulation. I suggest you do not do the same, but it does work really well. Then I just grab wherever the corner's going to be. Move that over to the next run. We've also got a plug behind here. I'll just trim around it. The tape is only just to hold it, because once it gets screwed, obviously the sheet is going to screw right through there. And you can see this stuff compresses down to just about nothing. So it's not going to affect the sheet at all. At least that is what I'm hoping. I do not know yet, but that's why I think I'll just finish this wall and then we might start cladding this back wall. And then if that works, we can just continue on with the rest of the shed.
Now, I'm certainly not saying that this is the best solution for everyone. For me, this was working really well because this is only a workshop, so I decided to just send it this way, and like I said, I get this insulation really cheap. Once I got the hang of it, it was really quick to put up. I am also wearing a mask because it is fiberglass, and fiberglass gets in your lungs, so definitely mask up if you are doing it this way.
All right, we are done with the insulation, except for these little triangle bits, which I'm going to do after. I was also only going to do this back wall and then sheet it. Then I got carried away, decided to do the rest of it, which is good because most of the fiberglass stuff is done. Stuff is all over me. But what I want to do now is sheet this back wall. So the reason I'm doing the back wall first is because they are the easy lap board, and they just happen to be at the front here, where you can see the cement sheeting is behind. These ones here are for the back. So those boards are 3 meters. My wall is 2.7 to where I want to screw it to. So I do need to dock off a little bit on each board. So I'll quickly start trimming them up, and I'll bring them in one by one. I've also got to take this plug off so I can pull the power through, and then up there I have to notch a little bit just for the power cord to run through as well. But I'm just going to work my way very slowly across and just see if I can quickly do this back wall. Now the next day, I got the back wall finished up, and my God, that looks friggin' sick. I wish we could have gone that James Hardy board the whole way around, but I just couldn't afford it. These boards are quite expensive, but God, that looks bloody mint. I haven't put as many screws in as I should just yet. What I'll do is get all the sheets up, go round, re-screw it at the end, but I'm absolutely stoked with how that looks. Obviously, we've got that weird void up there that I'm not sure what I'm doing with. I could just go and buy another sheet of that and then finish off the top, but I'm not sure about that just yet. Let's focus on getting these walls done. The next stuff that we're using is just blue board, so it's like render stuff. You can see that right here. Now, I'm actually going to be facing it the wrong way around because there's like a channel for you to lay plaster in. We're not actually plastering any of these joints as of yet anyway. You can see this easy lap joint right here. I'm actually just going to leave that raw, but on these blue board walls, they leave like quite a big 50 mil sort of channel for you to tape and plaster. I'm actually going to be flipping the board the other way so you don't see that channel, and then we're just going to paint over the top of it. It's going to have a textured look, but I think it'll look fine for us. So I might start with this wall here, start sheeting along. Obviously, I've got a few things to cut out on this wall. Plug the switchboard there. We've also got another plug here, and then we've got the door and also the lights. So there is a fair bit of cutting involved with this. The concrete dust is no joke. It's definitely bad for your health, so I'm wearing a mask as much as I possibly can while cutting this stuff because silica dust is like literally poisonous. So I'm going to mask up again and get to cutting, and then we can start sheeting this wall. One of the best parts about doing this sheeting is when my workbenches go hard up against the wall, they're going to be like pushed right up so nothing can fall off the back of the bench and down into the cavity that we had before. And all the steel framework was just collecting so much dust, so this way we're going to have nice clean work environment. This is going to be absolutely sick when this is done. So enough talk, let's get to sheeting this shed. that's the first of the blue board. You can see we've flipped it round, it's nice and textured. You are meant to have it the other way around, but I think once that's painted, it's going to be fine. The reason that I got these super cheap is that a lot of them are broken from a forklift, so probably got some patchwork to do, but time to screw the rest of them up. I think that looks sick.
Now you do need a special grinder with a diamond blade to be able to cut cement sheeting. So that is a downside, and the other downside is that you can't breathe the stuff in. So you've got to wear a mask or cut with water. Luckily, this saw does have a water function, but it didn't work whenever I was cutting vertically, so that's something to think about as well. Now I'm also putting some off-cut bits of cement sheeting in behind these blue board sheets, just so they pull together square. Without this, there's a chance that it might bow in the middle and you would see a gap in the wall, which is no good, so this should help with that.
Right, that was the last board on this wall here, and that looks pretty good. You can see where the forklift damage is. That's why I got them so cheap. But what I've done is I've screwed boards behind all the cracks, and that way I can go ahead and quickly fill them. And what I'll be doing with these seams is just using gap filler, go through, gap fill all that, then we can paint it and it'll look mint. I'm tossing up in my head whether to do a grey or a white. I think a light grey on here would look sick because I am leaving that back wall that colour, which is a dark grey. So light grey, dark grey might look good. Not really too sure what I'm going to do with this door yet because I can't really sheet it, because you can see that needs to come sort of flush on that. And if I sheet it, it's going to be a little bit too thick to shut it. I might have to just line this kind of similar to what we did with the roof, just so this door is silver. Then we're going to go around, do a bit of an architrave around that. I've also got to do an architrave around these windows once I sheet this side. It should really help with the sound too. If not the sound on the camera, it'll definitely help the sound for the neighbours. They won't be hearing me work until 9 p.m. anymore because it'll be nice and insulated. And if you're wondering why I didn't take the wall sheets right to the roof there, it's because some of these are only just big enough to get to that stud. Some of them are over 3 meters. My wall's 2.7 to the top there. I wanted everything to be universal. I didn't want short ones and long ones. The other reason is if we do need to run electrical in the future, then we can actually chase it up with some yellow tongue, run it across the top, maybe have to pull the insulation out, but at least we won't have to take a sheet of plaster off the wall. So that's good. I'm gonna get started on this wall. I don't think I'll film too much of it because it's all the same stuff, just screwing, boarding, cutting. So yeah, I'll get onto this wall. I'll see you guys in a sec. This is finally the last sheet. Last full sheet anyway. Still got a tiny little bit of scrap, but last heavy sheet done. Whew. Just got to screw it up, cut a little bit, and we're going to work on those triangles. All right, it has been a while since I've done an update. Now, I've made some pretty good progress. We are fully sheeted. As you can see behind me, this wall here is fully done. You can see nice and neat all the way up to the end. Man, am I glad that that sheeting is done. Cutting that stuff is not fun. Anyway, I've done some stuff off camera. I know I should have been filming, and sorry for you guys that are trying to follow along, but I've cut the triangle. I did stuff it up a little bit, but I made it work. Instead of going out and getting another hardy board, I decided just to chop up the blue board because I already had it. So you can see nice and triangle. We'll ignore that mistake there, but over the other side is done as well. I also did insulate behind that as well, so that is all done. I'll probably just try and paint that top bit a dark grey and try and match that James Hardy board rather than, you know, wasting another $150 on another sheet of board. I think it looks pretty good for what it is. It'll look a lot better when it is painted. The other thing I've done is the top section up there. What I did with that is I cut strips of the leftover insulation. I rolled it up, so it's basically a roll of aluminium foil, and I've tucked it up there like a nice big sausage, just nicely rolled up and tucked under there, and it fits in super snug. And I like that idea because if you were ever to run more wiring, like I said, you can just pull that bit of insulation out, tuck your wiring in, and then stick it back up. And I think that is the perfect result for a void that I had no idea I was going to do with. I know that there's probably going to be some builders somewhere cringing and potentially going down in the comments telling me what I've done wrong. this is just what I had to work with. I've literally only spent like $500 on all the board and $500 on the insulation. So $1,000 all up, I've sheeted and insulated the whole shed. So I think that's pretty good. Now, yes, there's probably some different ways to do those gaps, to do the whole job. But like I said, I'm working with what I've got. The only thing that really isn't done is that triangle up there. I'm probably just gonna insulate that. I've got one leftover earth wool blanket. So this is actually different. It's kind of got a different foil on the back, but I'll probably try and use that up there with the silver side facing out so that we can just have that bit, you know, capped off and insulated at least. I don't think I'll sheet up there. So there definitely is still a lot to get done, but for my sanity, I might just end the video here and we'll do a part 2 on the rest of it, just because there is so much to get done, as well as, you know, sorting all this out, putting it all back in the new place that it's all going. So thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, leave a thumbs up. Really helps me and lets me know what you guys are enjoying. But yeah, I'll see you guys next week and hopefully we can get the rest of this shed done.